Good everyone. So today we're going to talk about something very important where a lot of people they have misconception about it. So about muscle growth, that you can't grow muscles without lifting heavy. So muscle growth doesn't equally means lifting heavy. Muscle hypertrophy is driven by three primary stimuli. These three primary stimuli are, first of all, mechanical tension, which is the most important thing. Secondly, is metabolic stress. And the third one is muscle damage. So these are the secondary, indirect to the muscle. So let's start with it. So mechanical tension does not mean maximal load. So it doesn't have to go on the maximal load that you have to do. It means high tension at the fiber level, especially when fiber are recruited and remain under tension long enough. So if you remain under tension, keep pushing yourself, you can achieve this with heavy loads, which is like probably 80% of how heavy you're going, 80% 1 RM, or you could do moderate load. It could be about around 65 or 60 to 75 1 RM, and you could do light loads, which is like around 30 to 50% 1 RM, which taking closer to a failure. So you keep doing a lot of reps. So the muscle cell does not know the weight. It actually senses strain, force, and duration of the exercise via something called mechanosensors. So integrase and glutamine, statin, and focal adhesion complexion. Secondly, is fiber recruitment. Why heavyweights seem special? Well, heavyweights force early recruitment of high threshold motor units. So it's a type 2 of fibers. That's why they are efficient for maximum strength. But here's the key misconception. Heavyweights recruits fiber faster, not uniquely. So with lighter weights, you recruit type 1 fiber first. As fatigue accumulates, as much as you keep doing exercises, type 2 fibers are recruited anyway throughout doing the exercise. You don't have to go heavy as well. So you will activate the type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is when you start doing it, and type 2 when you keep going until failure, near failure. So full motor unit recruitment occurs. So light to moderate loads can grow muscle equally well, provided sets approach failure, and this supported by EMG and biopsy and hypertrophy data. Thirdly, is strength doesn't mean hypertrophy, and hypertrophy doesn't mean power. They are related, but not the same. So a maximum strength is driven by natural adaptation, by motor unit synchronization, by rate coding, and intermuscular coordination. So best trained with heavy loads. And hypertrophy is muscle size, meaning size. It's driven mainly by fiber level tension, is by mTOR activation and satellite selling. So it's a signaling by the cell, and it's cumulative volume. This is best trained for maximum loading zones. It's not with heavy loads. And thirdly, we have power. So power is force times velocity training. So high force and high speed, and this is interact with CNS, which is central nervous system, and low fatigue. So this is best trained with moderate training loads, moves, and with Olympic lifts, jumps, and this kind of sport that requires a lot of tension and all the stuff, throws, dynamic effort work. So this is training power slowly with maximum loads, kill velocity and power output. And why heavy everything fails long term? So first is CNS overload. If you keep overloading CNS, this is happens. So what's going to happen is excessive sympathetic activation, reduce motor learning quality, and decline in explosive output. Secondly, there is a connective tissue mismatch. Tendons adapt slower than muscles. Ligaments, cartilage, lag behind all neural strength gains, and loads to tendinopathy. If you keep putting pressure in the tendons, you will eventually have a tendinopathy and the tears, and joint degeneration. You might have all this stuff because of overloading your muscles. And if you keep overloading the muscles, the pressure goes to tendons and joints. Thirdly, we have volume limitation. Heavy loads drastically reduce movable volume, which is hypertrophy occurs more with efficient volume and loads alone. And fifth, we have muscle growth, best when you vary the stimuli. So elite lifters and power building do not train heavy all the time, and they should not train heavy all the time. The cycle is heavy work, neural efficiency. And then secondly, we have moderate work, which is maximum hypertrophy stimuli. And the third, we have light, which is metabolite work. It's mostly with fiber fatigue and connective tissue health. This ensures full fiber spectrum stimulation, minimal injury risk, and sustainable progress. So it's not only one off where you come doing a heavy lift, but you keep doing it throughout the time. You do heavy lift, and you do moderate, and you do light. And six, we have exercise selection matters. So this is huge misconception. Heavy loads are appropriate. All the heavy loads are appropriate with squats, deadlifts, any presses, and rows. You don't do anything else. So they are not ideal for lateral raises. I see many people, they do heavy lateral raises. That's bad. Rear delts, because they're small. Biceps isolation, you don't do heavy. That's stupid. And we have calves. We have rotator cuff. And we have most like single joint movement. Any single joint movement. You do not do heavy with these exercises at all. Using maximum loads, there is like increase in injury risk. There does not increase fiber tension in the muscle proportionally, because you're doing heavy lift and you're not isolating the muscles with like a lot of tension. And we have reduced quality of contraction when you contract and all that stuff. So what the muscle cell actually responds to, this is very deep. If you don't understand it, you could just ask about it. So at the cellular level, there is a hypertrophy is driven by something called mechanotransduction, and there is datum-based tension sensing. This is in the muscle fiber. This is focal adhesion, FAK, and we have mTORC1 activation, and we have the ribosomal biogenesis. This is, none of these requires heavy. All these stuff, they don't require any heavy training. There are sufficient tension, there is sufficient duration, and there is sufficient recruitment. And practical truth about it, so you do not need heavy weights in everything to grow muscle, build power, become strong overall. What you need is heavy weight sometimes for maximum strength, and you need moderate load most of the time. You have to do it for hypertrophy training, and we have explosive work strategically for power. You need to do explosive work to increase your power, which we talk about velocity training. And then we have smart volume and recovery.